Welcome. So today we're going to talk about kind acts and how we could use memories to uplift ourselves and uplift the world we're in. And yeah, so let's get into this. So think of a kind act. If you could think of three or four, that would be fantastic, or more. But even it just one is actually going to be the most important because we could use that all the time. So a kind act that made you feel good, whether you did it, you saw someone else do it, you you saw someone else do it, someone did it for you, whatever the case it may be. And it could be from your childhood, and it could be from yesterday, it could be from whenever. I would like you to tap into your childhood if it's not too triggering or whatnot, so that we could find hopeful moments and hopeful, kindful acts and times in our childhood, because I find that a lot of people can, like, it's a lot of people have gone through traumatic times in their childhood, and so it's important for us to remember the good times so that we're not just painting the whole childhood in one way. Doesn't mean that, like, oh, it's I'm saying that, like, you definitely didn't have the traumatic events that happened. I'm just saying that those moments that were good and that were kind, a simple gesture of someone helping you with your bags, someone helping you with your homework, or something like that, in like a very kind, pure intentioned way, could be really helpful for you, could be really good for all of us, really. A lot of people, if it wasn't parents or siblings, or friends, it was in school, there was a lot of bullying for a lot of people. Even if it was like someone said one thing, one word to them, that could stay with them for a long time, and that hurts people. And so you might not see the scar physically on them, but it hurt them. Doesn't mean that there's a scar in you. I don't want you to imagine that, but I want you to know that, like, it's okay to acknowledge that something happened, but it's okay to have look at the good in those moments as well. So that's why I want us to go into the childhood part, but it's okay if you think it's best for you to not, for any reason. And so perhaps, like, dealing with that with a professional, one-on-one, or finding resources to deal with that if you want to, or you think it's good at this point. Anyways, let's go into the kind acts. So kind acts from a point in time in your life. You did it, someone did it for you. It was kind, it seemed pure. Perhaps even sometimes when we're reflecting on some of these, we might realize it might not have been as pure or something. But so we're trying to really find, like, something more on the pure side that's good intentioned, and keeping in mind that, like, if we notice that, like, well, was that, like, rooted in people pleasing and stuff? So some of it might be some borderline that may seem like it might be. Sometimes we're not sure 100% if it is, if it's not from us. Sometimes it's like it's too much. The overgiving that someone did from, like, looked like, what they say, from an empty cup, giving from an empty cup, they say. So it's more so looking for a kind act that someone did that you think aligns with you, is good, kind, pure-hearted. So even if it's from this week, it's fine too, or this year, or something that you did. And perhaps someone doesn't know that you did that. That's a really kind gesture too. Sometimes doing something kind and someone may not know it. And that doesn't mean that you should always do that. 'Cause sometimes it is good that other people do know that you did a kind gesture, because that's how, monkey see, monkey do, right? People see someone doing something, they're more likely to do that as well, especially if they think it makes them feel good. And I believe there's a psychology study specifically on that. But as always, someone could double check that if they like. But either way, we already know that like if you see someone holding the door, someone is more likely to do that as well. Makes other people feel good and stuff. Of course, there's social norms and cultural contexts of these situations where it might not be the case, but more so I'm talking about like in North America and stuff like that, and in most cities in North America. Um, so, or I guess Canada, America, I would even focus to, but in Western societies as well. Um, but other societies have it too. But I'm just gonna say that I'm focusing on this as well because there's a lot of layers when we're talking about many different cultures and countries and stuff. So we're gonna look at, okay, where's a kind moment that someone did, and how did it make me feel, and think about how you could reflect that or bring that forward into the world. I'm not asking you to do like an extra job or add something to your plate. It's like, oh, well, that was really nice. Simple as like holding a door. It's like, oh, that was really nice. I really like that. Like, someone looked like they were rushing and they looked back and they saw someone coming with like a bunch of bags and a stroller or a dog or something and looked like they needed help, and the person stopped and made sure they waited a bit longer and held the door open for them, and then held the other door open for them and held the other door open for them, like little stuff like that. And it's just like, oh, that was really nice. I'm glad they did that. That was the right thing to do even. um, and so yeah, so thinking of these moments, thinking of like maybe someone stood up for you. Maybe it was in class when you were young. Maybe it was um, when you were older. Maybe you stood up for someone. Maybe someone gave you credit when you were scared to speak up, or it was normal in a meeting for people to take other people's ideas for some reason. And so someone made sure they gave you credit. These little things are great because it shows you, hey, this is a really good thing, this is a really kind thing, and that's what needs to be more in the world. People giving people more credit, people maybe standing up for, not maybe, people standing up for other people um, in certain situations that, in a safe way. Sometimes people could be putting themselves in danger, and I'm not saying you should jump into that, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't save someone or something either, because every situation is very specific. So thinking of like the kind moments, thinking of the the things that you see in the world that you're just like, wow, that really stood out to me, that was really great, and that aligns with me, and that's something that I could easily do in my world. um, if I see that opportunity around me, I'm going to do that. Again, whether if it's just holding the door open, um, and stuff like that. And sometimes, I'm not saying people are always gonna smile back and say something kind to you for it. But that's not the point. That like sometimes people, you're helping them or you open the door for them and they don't say anything. But sometimes people are so in their head and just so in another world that after a bit they walk down, they realize like, oh my God, I didn't say thank you to that person. So keep that in mind, that like some people are just not in it that day, but they'll remember the kind gesture at some point, perhaps not everyone, but at some point a lot of people do. And so and maybe that not rem- being able to say thank you to you causes them to make sure they do it every single time after that. Maybe that was a mini lesson for them. And so think of a time where something kind comes up in your memories. Um, and I'm not saying that like it's not gonna bring up other memories that might trigger things for you. But this is a focus on these kind moments in your life, um, that are aligned with you, and it doesn't signal like, oh, I'll be people pleasing, or I'll be trying hard to do this kind gesture because then it'll, you know, put me in the in crowd or make me popular or stuff like that. Like, no, you want it to be aligned with you and your values of kindness, of goodness, of good ethics and morals, um, and having boundaries and knowing that, like, there's social norms and cultural context of things being appropriate in certain situations and not appropriate, or too much in certain situations or certain cultures or societies, um, and knowing like if it's safe to do so. And sometimes, like, yeah, people are supposed to push boundaries in order to, add this, goodness into the world, but you have to know if that's the situation that you were intended to do in that situation, or if it's just simply not safe for you and not good, not aligned with you, um, and for your highest good and what the universe would want for you or not want. Um, and and yeah, so by doing this, so let's say you do this and adding this to your affirmations, to your gratitude list, of doing that every day, or just after brushing your teeth or before you're brushing your teeth, being like, yeah, like, what good, kind thing has someone or I did for someone a while back? And it's just like, oh yeah, I remember that time when this, and this. Well, imagine you're exercising that muscle. Let's say it's a muscle. We're exercising that, looking for kindness all the time. And then we start looking out into our present world and being like, oh yeah, I saw that kind thing today. Oh, and then you start perhaps seeing it a bit more. But after some time, you'll see more goodness in the world, because that's what you are looking into the world with, is like all these little kind moments that you've seen. And so we're using the past as a momentum to uplift us, so it makes us feel good, and to go forward as well, to take us forward. And so some might say, like, isn't that like living in the past? Well, we're using this as a fuel to go forward. And to live in the past, oftentimes there's a lot of memories that we could get stuck in, that are memories that are like tied to a lot of people that we have a lot of emotional, let's say, strings with. And so when you do think of these kind moments and stuff, I do want you to keep it a bit more general and vague. It's not like, oh, this ex did all these kind things for me. So I do want to actually remind you that, like, that's not the focus at all, to go down that road, unless that's what's intended for you to do for whatever reason. But in general, like, that's not the intention for this exercise. The intention is to think of like a kind moment without these emotional strings, so that it reminds you of kind things that you want to do for other people in the world if you are given the opportunity. And when you and then you'll start seeing kind things in your world, right? Because then that's how, like, you'll see more abundance in your world, you'll see more good in your world, and stuff like that. And so and it does make it a bit more harder if you are doing this exercise and you're watching a lot of news um, that are like just constant news that are feeding you a lot more negative things, whereas there's a lot more positive things that are also going on in the world. I'm not saying your world doesn't have all those things and it's not true, and maybe it's safe for you to watch that because it's important for your safety perhaps, but I'm saying also make sure that you're looking at a lot of the good as well, so that you're less in a fear state, less in a fight or flight free state, um, and looking at opportunities, looking at kindness, looking at abundance, looking at the goodness in the world and in your world and stuff like that. So yeah, so if you do that throughout your day, even, but every day or several times a week, you'll start seeing the good. You'll start seeing this ripple effect. You start seeing like how life could feel more bouncy, how it could feel more joyful and peaceful and loving, because you're able to see with a different perspective, right? Like one little habit change. I'm not saying like, oh my God, I feel like, I'm top of the world type of thing. It could, but I'm saying like one little shift that you weren't doing before can help you, can make you see the world in a more brighter way, and see your world in a brighter way, and see how you could light up your own world by doing this. And so yeah, just thought it was is a good exercise to look at different points in your life, so we could use that as momentum to uplift ourselves, and to use that as momentum to go forward in our lives. Because you know, who wouldn't want more of that in our lives? More opportunities to see good, to see kindness, to see love, and just to uplift ourselves and others along the way. Yeah. So I hope this helps, and I hope that you have a wonderful, 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 magical day. Bye.